Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Blockchain Chronicles. We are here today to do a little recap of the latest crypto news. We did this about a month ago. My name's Jude Newcomb, and with me today, as usual, is Chris Bowe. So, Chris, how you doing?
Hey, good mate. How are you?
I'm all right. Hanging in there. Excited about this market turnaround. It looks like we've had over the past about a month, right? And
Yeah,
I know the first time that we did a show like this, we talked about how this might be a weekly thing or a monthly thing, and we weren't sure at the time if that was actually going to be the case. So maybe it's a quarterly thing.
I think things went a bit quiet with the downturn, but there might be a bit more news coming out these days, I think.
I think so. And we picked out four clips, four news stories that kind of caught our eye over the past month or so. And the first one is a story that you kind of turned me on to with Richard Hart and Pulse.
Yep.
So let's take a look at that clip real quick.
Pulse chain update, over 600 million has been sent to the sacrifice address so far, and that doesn't include Dogecoin, Litecoin, and I'm not sure if it includes Cardano. It also does not include the money that was sent to the Sens Foundation for charity, over $25 million. So we probably have over $700 million raised for Pulse chain so far. Pay attention to this one. It could be special. The last time a project raised this amount of money in such a short amount of time is never.
All right. So with that clip, you got a little taste for the amount of fundraising that Richard Hart is able to do. For people that aren't really aware of this, Chris, like, do you want to give just like a little bit of background as far as you know of kind of what this story is about?
Yeah, I guess what interested me was the whole theory of sacrifice, and I guess previously you've seen people collecting money or fundraising or making money for a new chain. His chain's called Pulse Chain, but it was just interesting to see the term sacrifice, and you're giving money based on not knowing what you're receiving, and it's so different to any model I've seen previously. And just the amount of money, I know he's got a reputation and he's got a track record of delivering, I guess, but just seeing the amount of money that rolled in with no promise of return was just
So
unbelievable.
yeah, so for someone like me who doesn't really know too much about Pulsecoin or this story, is that exactly what it is? So sacrifice is just here, we're giving you this money, almost like seed money with
Yeah,
no, the promise, I guess, on return is what somebody puts into the coin on their own behind the scenes, and then
yeah,
hopefully the value of the token or coin goes up.
yeah, and I guess he knows who's delivered, and he sort of hinted that there may be a reward sent out for sacrificing, but you're basically sacrificing on the basis of no return. It's like giving the goat you've got to God or something, and hoping that he doesn't strike you down with a flood later on. So yeah, it was just
Yeah.
very interesting, that whole model of sacrifice. And I think if you didn't have a name in the industry, no one's gonna pay sacrifice to you. But I guess yeah, with having the name, it's just a really interesting model.
Yeah, and as far as I know, Richard Hart, he kind of comes from, what was it, Hex?
Yeah, Hex coin
Hex was
is
the project. Did he do sacrificing with Hex as far as you know?
no, I haven't seen it before. I'm not a big follower of Hex, but I know he's done really well, and I watched the capital rise up in Hex, and I think he's planning on
Right.
taking over Ethereum. So he's definitely done well with Hex, but got a strong following from that.
Yeah, it's an interesting model, kind of taking the success of a previous project and riding that wave into a new project to increase capital in a totally new direction and people following him.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
interesting.
And what I find interesting too is I guess, from a metrics point of view, which we're both involved in, is these second projects and starting more projects and sort of splitting your time out, I guess, is interesting too, because is that a good thing for Hex, I guess, is starting a new project, or are you that size and scale where you've got enough people working on it that you can keep it going? So that too interests me.
Yeah, I think with the project that we're on, Metrics, the team is growing and growing, and we're definitely bringing in more and more side projects, if you will, with the NFT platforms and wrapped MRX and stuff like that. But and with our gaming platform, but that still all falls under the moniker of Metrics. We're not kind of starting. I don't even know what another coin name would be, Frontier Coin. I mean, I think that even exists, but
Jude
yeah, Jude Coin. Sounds great. But at some point, I'm just me on the sidelines, not knowing much about Richard Hart, and seeing the amount of money that's brought in, it makes me kind of question the whole thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Why is this much money coming in? Is this much money actually necessary for what Pulse Coin needs? Because that was a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's well funded moving forward, but yeah, it's definitely a lot of money, and you wonder what it all goes towards. But I guess we'll see over time.
Yeah, and the other underlying theme that I was thinking about with the Pulse Coin sacrificing of funds and was just hype overall. Hype in the cryptocurrency space. The last time that we talked about a quarter ago, it was a lot of dog meme coins was the topic of conversation with Akita and Shiba and Husky and fill in the blank Doge, coins that haven't really provided anything yet we're hyped up and we're just building off momentum that started with itself, and a small community that just grew and grew and grew. What do you think is that thing that makes a coin kind of spark and take off like that?
I guess what percent of that is luck is the question. I guess I've seen the latest are all daddy coins now. I don't know if you followed the daddy coin. I know you're a dog coin follower.
I don't know about daddy coin yet.
Yeah, I know. I was shocked to see it myself, but all the new ones are daddy Doge and daddy everything you can imagine. But I'm like, yeah, I think some of that's, I guess, marketing and jumping on whatever the latest trend is. But also there's got to be some luck involved with being at the right place at the right time and getting that spark.
Yeah.
Pulling it through, yeah.
We're still early in crypto, which, as we will see in the last clip, we'll hear from somebody that talks about being early still in cryptocurrency. And that's how I feel when when we talk about meme coins and talking about, sacrificing for it almost, it still kind of reminds me of the early days of, during the .com bubble, where, exorbitant IPO performances happened on the stock exchange for companies that were still running in debt. And that all needs to still work itself out. We're still incredibly early.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Trent posted last night that the market cap had hit 1.9 trillion, and just the speed it's growing's just been unbelievable. But
incredible.
Sure. Yeah.
I think a year ago we were 300-400 billion, something like that.
Yeah, something like that, and it's just really taken off, and it's got hopefully further to go, as we'll see in a little bit.
Let's hope so. So with that, why don't we move forward into the second clip that we have, which is something that we've talked about a little bit so far, but kind of the turnaround in the market that we've experienced in the last month. Market cap of the whole crypto market at 1.9 trillion now. Let's take a look at this clip about Bitcoin.
This is the price target I'm looking at for the next 5 months of Bitcoin. We're gonna have major resistance around 48K, but as soon as we break that, our next line of resistance is gonna be our old all-time high. Once we break through that, I expect the price somewhere around here.
All right. Well, as you can see from that gentleman's response, he's very optimistic about the performance of Bitcoin and what he sees price targets being. I think he was at 40,000, and then 64,000, and then he saw an overall price target anywhere between 100 and something thousand and 200 and something thousand. Do you think he's far off?
Well, I think definitely the steps along the way is we all know there's resistance at that 48-ish mark. We know that the all-time high is going to be a challenge to break through. But then that 250 is where everyone's like, that's where we're heading. And I don't think it's crazy. I mean, I've been talking $400,000 Bitcoin. Everyone talks the $1 million Bitcoin, down the path a little bit. But he's talking about this run hitting 250, which, would be a beautiful run for all of us from here. And I don't think it's a crazy, made up number. I think with the number of institutions jumping on, the amount that's changed just in the time we've been doing it, the amount that we've seen change and the adoption coming through, I think 250, let's hit it.
Yeah, I was thinking back up to 2017 and thinking about kind of the world and how the world was reacting to the price of Bitcoin during that time when it was making its run to 20K.
Yep.
During this last run to 60,000, it didn't seem like that. It still didn't seem like that. So like, I know like when we get feelings like that, where everybody's talking about it, front page news, it's all over the place. That's kind of like a 100,000, 200,000 kind of atmosphere. I can wrap my mind around, that as a price target. I don't think this gentleman's like very wrong, but what a lot of people do debate about, and I'd like to get your opinion, is the concept of a 4-year cycle versus lengthening cycle theory. So there's two teams. I think lengthening cycle theory is starting to gain more and more acceptance the more that we go into this year. But what are your thoughts on that? Where do you see the top of Bitcoin coming in?
Well, I guess I think this time we're going to have a cycle, but it feels like at some point the reality of using Bitcoin every day takes over from these cycles, especially the more Teslas and Amazon, not that it ended up in Amazon, but the big companies that get in and use it, there's got to really flatten out that curve a little bit. Well, hopefully, because otherwise we're all going to be crazy with the rising and the falling, trying to pick that.
I think with the halvenings too, right? You're only going to start having things to where there's going to be as much of a price difference between what you mined 2 years ago versus what you can mine now. At some point, you're right. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the whole point of Bitcoin, right? Like the deflationary model, but also the tightening of the output of coins being able to be mined up until the last coin that's mined. I was just going to say, just that setup to come up with that when he's created Bitcoin, Satoshi, wherever Satoshi is, to have the halvenings be at what seems to be the exact moment they're needed. Yeah, it's just unbelievable how that's played out, from a creation point of view. It's unbelievable. I try to think about that. Just the clairvoyance that's needed is. I'm jealous. It's just it's a beautiful thing. It's kind of it's a work of art to me. This has all played out over the past, what has it been? 11 years?
11, he's given enough at the early stages to get people interested, but not too much to ruin it, and spread it so perfectly that you couldn't have written it better if you had the benefit of history. So it's crazy.
Yeah, and so you're looking at late December, early January as kind of the peak this cycle?
Yeah, I think I take my guidance off Trent because he's probably the smartest guy we know with pricing, and you've seen how he is with judging charts and things. But and he's talking early next year, and it sort of fits in with the 17 cycle I was involved with pretty heavily. So I think that's probably where I'm thinking at the moment. But I'm definitely not a price kind of guy,
Right. Yeah, me neither.
I just love the news here in Australia. I don't know if it's the same in the US. It goes up to 60, nothing in the news. It goes down to 38, 37, and everyone's like, the news is like, oh, it's crashed.
The sky's falling.
Yeah, it's like you didn't mention when it went to 60. They won't mention it again this time when it goes to 60. So just crazy. The media, jumping on the stories they want to, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing about like shows like what we're doing right now, and also where we get our content from. A lot of our content comes from TikTok clips. We just finding everyday people, citizen journalists, things like that, that are just putting out material that anybody can watch on their phone, and that's just another sign of the changing times and the way that media can begin to start working in the world. So, with that, clip number 3. This is an interesting one because I think we probably can both give our own opinion as to not necessarily what the clip is about, but this is just about how taxes and regulation kind of affect our lives with cryptocurrency. And you're in Australia, I'm in the United States. So let's take a look at this clip first. It's about the U.S. Infrastructure bill that just passed, or is being debated.
Fighting about.
Right.
Massive crypto regulation is coming in the US. Biden administration is proposing a $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill that has to pass by the House. And this infrastructure includes roads, bridges, and railroads. And where do you think the major portion of this revenue is going to come from? You got it right, it's cryptocurrencies. There's a reason why US is bullish on cryptocurrencies, because they know that they can raise up to $28 billion by taxing your crypto gains. So each time you sell a crypto or send it from one wallet to another, swap it to get a different coin, it's going to be taxed, and you're supposed to report it to the IRS. At the same time, I think this is one of a massive bullish news for crypto investors. More regulation means there is a confidence in cryptocurrency that this is the future. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments.
All right, so that's an interesting clip. The gentleman here, I can't really vibe with whether, he's like in support of it or against it, but that doesn't really matter. I think he's in support of it because he's trying to explain, where all these roads and bridges and various infrastructure programs, how they're going to be paid for. A lot of it is going to come from, the newfound blossomed cryptocurrency market and the potential windfall of money that can come in the form of taxes. I think in this infrastructure bill, it was at $28 billion was going to come from cryptocurrency taxes and various ways that those taxes are generated, whether it's just transferring from one token to another, whether it's cashing out your crypto into your bank account, sending crypto to other people, and also in the form, which was kind of why I wanted to talk about it with you, is kind of this idea of paying, being considered a broker of cryptocurrencies, even if you're just staking as a private citizen in your own home, where each stake that comes in is kind of like a taxable event. It's not necessarily new news, but with the infrastructure bill being debated, it became a big story about a week ago. So does something like that kind of exist already in Australia, or is that something as far as you're aware, how does that work?
So definitely when I watched this, I thought, what, you're not paying tax on crypto? It's like, for us, this is seems pretty normal. And I guess, every event we have to pay tax on if you sell it, if you transfer it, all the things that they're sort of talking about. But what I loved about this is they're sort of bearing a new tax as a infrastructure bill. Mm-hmm. And I love how that's done. It's like, oh, do you want roads and bridges? I thought we had roads and bridges. I didn't know we needed to tax crypto to get there. But yeah, it's just interesting how you call it an infrastructure bill rather than a tax bill.
Yeah, or like the Freedom Act or the Patriot Act,
Yeah, exactly. And I love that sort of how they bury it as a infrastructure. You want roads. Everyone wants roads, so we're going to have to tax this crypto. But I guess, like you're saying, we've always had to pay those taxes, and I guess it's interesting. I think there has to be some tax on crypto, but no one wants to pay tax. But I guess that's how the world works, and that's how society works. So
yeah, it kind of reminds me a little off topic, but I don't know how long ago it was. It was about a year or so, I think, after 9/11. There was this Port Safety Act that was being pushed through Congress it was like around midnight or 1 a.m. It was like a late night bill that Congress was trying to pass. And earmarked in the Port Safety Act, it was this act that was trying to strengthen the borders, following 9/11, so that terrorists didn't have easier access to getting nefarious things across the border. Yep. And earmarked into the bill was the online gambling ban that was done in the United States. Yeah. So that was put into the same bill. And of course it passed, because if you voted against it as a politician, well, you're against terrorism, or you're for terrorism.
You're for terrorists, yeah.
Yeah. So that's why the United States doesn't have online poker anymore, because it was included in this terrible earmark of a bill that makes sense, but also didn't need to have an online poker, stipulation in it. So, yeah. And then you call it the Port Safety Act, and everybody votes for it. But
yeah, I love it. Well, even this infrastructure bill, I saw that so far it struggled because there wasn't enough spending for the army, and in it, it's like
exactly
so much connected. And I've seen that a lot in the US. Sort of they throw in different bits and pieces, which
yeah. I guess we can save a conversation for regulation, because that's an important conversation to have as well, but maybe we'll save that for a future episode. But the last clip I'm really excited for. We're bringing back our old friend Gary V. He made an appearance on the first show, and here he is on this updated show. But just a little bit of a disclaimer: this clip is a little bit older, because you'll notice it by the price of Bitcoin that he talks about.
15,000, yeah.
15,000. People maxing out their credit cards for 15 grand Bitcoin prices, and that they're in trouble. But what we want to talk about is a little bit different. So take a look.
People understand, to me, blockchain as a technology is a foregone conclusion. But the currencies that are built on top of that have enormous volatility. For all the people here that like to tell each other how they made $1 million in 12 months from zero, I want everybody to know this is just my real life. I have over 10,000 direct messages and emails in my inbox right now of people who maxed all their credit cards and bought Bitcoin at 15,000, right? Who are in deep fucking shit, who are in massive depression and sadness. So please understand that when we're in these spaces, there's enormous volatility, and it's very fucking early, like real early. Like real fucking early. And I think that the lack of patience of proving you were right, or needing to make 10 million bucks or whatever the fuck is going through your mind, is the vulnerability, the lack of patience in this collective. All of us here together, all the fancy people in the back and all the people here, our collective vulnerability is lack of patience. And so I genuinely believe that if you're one of the 2 or 3 people here who can fundamentally change your path from the quick score, because of the gold rush nature of the oxygen in the room, to do you actually believe in blockchain? Do you believe in decentralization, and start being meaningful? I believed in social media in 2006. There was a lot of people who came and went in 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10, who had a lot of Twitter followers. There's a substantial reason that I was able to see it all the way through and be in this space with the longevity, because my behavior wasn't helter-skelter. It wasn't, my pants weren't on fire because I thought this social media thing would be gone tomorrow. I am completely convinced, and this is not a disrespectful comment, I'm completely convinced that more than half this room thinks that it's a quick score game and have no sense or even are educated enough to understand how this all plays out. And I think within that is your opportunity, because I will say this, for the group that's here, you have such a substantial advantage over 99% of people because you understand this is actually even happening. The 99% of the people in the world understanding of blockchain or crypto is the word Bitcoin, and that's where it starts and ends. 99 in the collective 7.7 billion people. Please do not underestimate the ability of you being somewhere early like you are. However, I just want people to take score of what's actually happening this weekend here and what's the opportunity at hand.
So what do you think, Chris? Are we still early?
Well, I think so. I think we're so early that if you look, like even the internet boom or any of the booms that's come before, we're so early. It's early days. There's no structure behind it. There's no regulation. Just to touch back on that, or very little regulation. It's all to come. So for sure, I think there's a long way to go on this journey.
Yeah, which kind of makes me want to question, like, when do you know we're no longer early? Like, is it when it's just in use, like when you go to a store and you're just cashing out at the register and it's in cryptocurrency? Is that it, or is
such a philosophical question? I think it's
yeah,
had a discussion this week where someone said, "Oh, that's beginner's luck," and I said, "When's beginner's luck end?" It's like pretty much the same question. I don't know. When's crypto mainstream?
Because I think a good point that he makes in that clip is still true today about, well, a couple of things. But the first thing, with the majority of people still associate cryptocurrency as a whole with one word, Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
And they don't understand it still. They just know the word. They laugh it off. They don't think it has any kind of future. It's funny money still. And that's the way it was when I first got into crypto like 5 years ago. So in that essence, things really haven't changed. I'm just trying to figure out if they have changed. There's more money in the market, right? So is it just an institutional understanding now?
Yeah, it's interesting because at my work I've got a promotion with you can pay with Bitcoin, and just to see the responses, most people have no clue what that is. People ring up and say, "I want to order that item on Bitcoin. How do I do it?" And I'm like, it's such early days still with the general public, I guess. And one of my good friends says, when your grandma's asking about it, then it's mainstream. But
I think
I don't think we're there yet.
I think that's a great barometer, a great point. If grandparents start talking about it and sending Bitcoin to their grandchildren for Christmas in the card, I think that's a good moment to say Bitcoin's no longer early. But
send me a private key, you think, in the Christmas card.
So what do you think about Gary Vee talking about this concept of patience, being patient? I know, like me and you, we've been associated with Metrics Coin since it was, Linda Coin back in 2017. We've been very patient. And what do you think? Can the broader market learn about patience?
Well, I think the history's showing, that patience pays off in crypto. I think you see everyone freaking out when it drops to 30-something thousand recently, and it's going to get back. But I guess emotion takes over at that point, and people sell out. And you see a lot of people now that sold out at 30-something, and now they're buying back in.
Yep.
It's like all you had to do was sit on it, not open it. And it's like in any investment, I guess. Shares. If you just put it away and leave it 5 years, you're fine.
Yeah.
But just that micro following it seems crypto's got this. They're looking for every little detail, anything Elon posts. Trying to read into it. What coin's he talking about? I think he's talking about 88. He put something about a crosswalk, and there was a crosswalk on the homepage of ADA.
Right.
Cardano, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's talking about ADA." Oh, he probably just said crosswalk. Who knows? And it's just a funny industry where every little detail that gets micro analyzed to the death.
Right. Yeah. The power of a red or green candle is amazing. and it doesn't matter what time frame that candle's on,
Yeah, the 1 minute time frame.
A 1 minute candle, the guy's sweating.
Yeah, and they're looking at what the candle shape means. Is it a hammer candle? We're going up. It's like, it's just...
there is one thing that I think I've learned multiple times over the past 5 years, and I haven't had to learn that lesson very much over the past year or two, is I am not a good trader. And my strength comes with my patience.
Yeah.
And I think that everything that I do is just buy and hold, buy and hold, buy and hold. If people buy and sell tops and they're good at it, good on you. Like, congratulations, sincerely.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be, I believe, just fine, just doing what I'm doing. And like we said, when Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general becomes a concept that is no longer early and we're in a great place, that buy and hold is going to pay off too, you know?
Yep.
And like I said, if you can trade, good on you. But you know, I might need like a bot or something like that to help with that.
Well, it's funny, all the traders and they say, I made 10%. It's like, well, Bitcoin went up 20%. So all that work, you could have just sat on it and held it. So I definitely see that. Like, there's really good traders out there, but man, unless you're good at it and you can pick it every time, you might have a great run for 3 months, but
Yeah.
it's different doing it year in, year out in different cycles. So
Yep.
I think if you bought Bitcoin at any point, apart from a month ago, at any
Right.
other point in the history of Bitcoin, you would be up now.
Yep.
And, in another month, you'll be up from any point in history that you bought it. So it sort of makes sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's kind of all the clips that we have for this quarter's episode. Maybe as more news comes through, we'll make a monthly video or something like that. Or if anybody who's watching or listening to this, because Chris, this is also going to be on the new podcast
Yep.
channel that we have on Spotify. So if you're listening to this, hope you're doing well. But anybody can leave a comment with issues or topics that they want us to maybe talk about and discuss next time, and we'd be totally open to doing that. Chris, is there anything that you'd like to sign off with?
I'd just say, if you're enjoying this format, let us know and we'll make more of them. We're happy to have a chat anytime. I love talking
I
to
guess
Jude.
that's a good point too. We should ask them if they actually like it.
Yeah, no one's watching will know, but yeah, if you like this format, I'm happy to talk to Jude every day, but
Yeah.
apart from that, yeah, it's been great talking to you again, mate. And
Yeah, for sure. And I will talk to you soon. And everybody out there, we'll talk to you later on. Stay safe and take care.
have a good day.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching the Blockchain Chronicles. If you like anything that you heard today, please give the video a thumbs up. If you want to contribute to the conversation that was had between the guests, leave a comment below and we'd love to get your thoughts. Also, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you'll get notified every time that we upload, which we are looking to do a couple times a week. So make sure you don't miss out. So once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the future. Bye.